there, it is indeed time for another Occupy Democrats breaking story where Trump seems to always want to exude the bull in a china shop mentality. And that breaking story I'm going to show you in a few moments, because let's understand that another favorite cliche of life is stop and smell the roses. And here's the thing. When you're busy trying to do what Trump's trying to do, which is basically just be an authoritarian dictator, and you have people around you like Pam Bondi and Pete Hegseth and Stephen Miller and this entire cast of clowns who are just interested in pure control without question, as we see with ICE, what happens along the way is you do forget to smell the roses, and most notably in this breaking story, you actually wind up making mistakes that come back and bite you in the butt. I'm going to show that story to you in a few seconds. You'd like Trump out of the White House, just subscribe to the channel. Anyway, let's remember what Trump first said on the campaign trail about universities and protesters here.
When I'm president, we will not allow our colleges to be taken over by violent radicals. And if you come here from another country and try to bring jihadism or anti-Americanism or anti-Semitism to our campuses, we will immediately deport you. You'll be out of that school.
And then certainly his favorite Pam Blondie Bondi, who's supposed to be the attorney for the country, but really is just Donald Trump's personal fixer. She had this to share with the American people here.
Yeah, it's very dangerous, Chris. It's extremely dangerous. And, you look around, the thing that's really the most troubling to me, these students in universities in our country, whether they're here as Americans or if they're here on student visas, and they're out there saying, I support Hamas, frankly, they need to be taken out of our country, or the FBI needs to be interviewing them right away when they're saying, I support Hamas, I am Hamas. That's not saying I support all these poor Palestinians who are trapped in Gaza. That's not what they're saying. So I think their student visas need to be revoked. Yeah, the anti-Semitism is rampant throughout this country now, and it's truly, truly heartbreaking to see what's happening to all of our Jewish friends in this country.
And certainly Trump would continue with his tight relationship with Bibi, another corrupt official, regardless of whether you like him or not in Israel, if you happen to be Israeli, had this comment to say about anti-Semitism and university funding here.
My first week back in the Oval Office, my administration will inform every college president that if you do not end anti-Semitic propaganda, they will lose their accreditation and federal taxpayers. We will not subsidize the creation of terrorist sympathizers, and we're not going to do it certainly on American soil. We're not going to do it anywhere. Next, I will inform every educational institution in our land that if they permit violence, harassment, or threats against Jewish students, the schools will be held accountable for violations of the civil rights law.
All that said, the reality is there is a very clear, distinct line when it comes to the law about free speech versus breaking the law. And a Reagan-appointed judge just absolutely excoriated Marco Rubio and Pam Bondi, calling them conspirators. Look at this breaking story.
Two cabinet secretaries conspired. Judge Reed's shocking ruling against Trump admin. U.S. District Court Judge William G. Young shocked attorneys with a damning opinion against two of President Donald Trump's cabinet secretaries, Marco Rubio and Kristi Noem, who he said conspired to undermine the free speech rights of pro-Palestinian activists. Following a September ruling against the Trump administration, Young continued to disclose his remarkable opinion on Thursday. There was no policy here. What happened here is an unconstitutional conspiracy to pick off certain people, to twist the laws, the judge said. Two cabinet secretaries conspired. They intentionally, knowing what they were doing, counseled by professionals who cautioned them, nevertheless went ahead to pick off these people with the intention that your clients would be chilled, and did so rather effectively, by the way. I was struck by the intentionality of the constitutional violation. I see this as a conspiracy to deprive your clients of First Amendment constitutional rights, he added. It's fairly clear that this president believes, as an authoritarian, when he speaks, everyone in Article 2 is going to toe the line absolutely.
And yet we already know, somehow, some way, Donald Trump will try to find a way to blame Ronald Reagan on Joe Biden. Except that's a Reagan appointee judge being hyper clear about the difference between free speech and calling someone a criminal. This, again, let's remember, Donald Trump is the guy who said he could shoot somebody on Park Avenue and not lose a vote. What's odd about that is that's an actual physical action, not speech, that unalives someone. And yet what Donald Trump wants to shut down and use the Department of Justice and the FBI and the CIA to do is to silence people who criticize or have a difference of opinion. Look, I am completely pro-Israel in so many ways. I'm completely anti-Hamas in so many ways. But parsing those things is not what the Trump administration, he just wants people to bend over when he says bend over. And that is not America. You guys like and share the video and stay frosty.